What is going on YouTube? This is Acid Root. So I'm going to review the fourth album by rap duo Big Tymers. Basically, this product is called Hood Rich, and it came out in the spring of 2002. So basically, this particular album, Hood Rich, is known for one of Big Tymers' biggest hits, which is the hit single Still Fly. I'd have to say. I want to say that that was like a top 20, top 10, top 20, top 15 single, something like that. It was a big deal throughout the early 2000s. Pitches like that, definitely a hit song that continues to have a lot of appeal, quoted a lot, pitches like that. Just a real affable type one. The hook is really outstanding as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just a real notable type one. Probably one of Birdman's biggest hits that doesn't feature Lil Wayne or pitches like that. But it's also a pretty big song for Mannie Fresh as well. So if you don't know full blown about Big Tymers, basically it's a super group of the rappers Birdman and then Mannie Fresh back when they were still kind of collaborating pitches like that. They dropped a number of albums between like the late 90s and early 2000s. They had some quality ones on here. Definitely this is damn near a classic. I feel like Hood Rich. Definitely what I'd say. This is a pretty exceptional Southern rap album. I'd say in particular, it's just kind of the concept that before Lil Wayne was blowing up in like huge overtime with pitches of albums like the Carter 1, the Carter 2, the Carter 3, some of those type ones, and 500 Degrees, some of those type ones. Really, apart from Juvenile, it was Big Timers that were doing pretty damn well as far as that pitch kind of happens with this. Just an interesting concept just because really Southern rap around this time didn't really have as many huge full blown kind of classic albums as far as that particular kind of happened. This album was kind of a big deal. It was more of a big deal than it was, and just because, especially because the concept was Still Fly, but it did have like a pretty relatively good follow-up single, and oh yeah, and then it also had a third single that Wikipedia doesn't talk about as much anymore, but I do faintly remember it being talked about back in the day. Basically, Wikipedia used to list that it had a third single called Big, which I am going to say that that's a single on here because I do remember that one. It's not talked about as much. I don't know if it had like a music video for it, but it might have as far as that pitch kind of happens. But at least the first two singles did. But it's just a pretty good concept of an album. Real balanced type album that had a lot of appeal towards it. Definitely one of the better Southern rap albums out of the year 2002, and definitely pretty affable and important type one that had a lot of good pitch and a good look for Cash Money, I'd have to say. Just an overall, just vastly appealing project that, like I was saying, is pretty much on the cusp of being like a classic album just within the concept of it. Has some great productions on here, some great hooks, like the fact that Jazzy Faye does a few beats on here. Mannie Fresh does most of them, but this is a pretty well produced album. So if you like the Birdman album from 2002, which I reviewed back in late June, pitches like that, I'd have to say this is another nice one to kind of get within that relative appeal. Same sort of pitch, same sort of vibes overall, same sort of affability. This is like a really excellent kind of summer cookout type album. Great for barbecues, cookouts, some of those type fairs, picnics, even some of those type pitches. Great kind of smokish type weather pitches like that. There's a lot of breezy kind of songs on here, and a lot of this. There may not be a ton of nightclub songs on here. I want to say that Big Money Heavyweight from 2003 had more of those type boss, but this is definitely some pretty distinct music and has a lot of overall appeal. So another thing that this particular album adds to this particular prospect Another thing that this particular album adds to the mix is like shop songs that I'd say garage type songs, songs like the forecast of movies like Fast and the Furious and some of those type ones. Thinking of car centric type ones, just movies love that relative pitch. Can't really think of too many offhandedly, but just the concept of ones of that relative, that field, the Italian Job, movies like that, as far as that particular kind of having some of those type ones. So I'd say it's pretty good appeal. But we'll go ahead and talk about the singles here. So yeah, there were 3 singles out this particular product. The first one is Still Fly. Like I said, this is a very classic and vintage kind of Southern rap song from the early 2000s. So it's like a classic kind of early 2000s Southern summer breeze of a song. I'd have to say in particular, real nice concept for that. It's like an easygoing kind of neighborhood frolicking, I would definitely feel like. And it has a pretty huge hook on here. So it's an excellent concept to get this one. This particular song just kind of came out of nowhere. It's an interesting pitch that Birdman was one of the bigger rappers out of 2002 just because the number of hits that he had around this time between like the song from late 2002, early 2003, What Happened to That Boy? And then he had some other hits off of his Birdman album from late 2002, but then he had a series of hits off of this particular album too. So it's almost as if Birdman was one of the superstars of 2002, and it's a pretty good concept because this is a real hit single. Definitely, if you're completely unaware of this particular product, this would be an immediate one to go for. It just has a pretty sing-songy hook and just overall atmosphere of type one that just really hits pretty heavily. Real nice summer breeze of one. Oh yeah is the second single. Now this is kind of a gimmick song. This one didn't chart as heavily. It's too bad that it didn't have more of like an affable type pitch behind it. But I think the concept was just because the concept of it is just gimmick songs are kind of hit or miss just within whether or not they would chart pitches like that. I just kind of feel like maybe folks wanted a better hit, but I feel like folks maybe wanted an affable hit that's like a sequel to Still Fly, I'd say, but this is a good song. It's definitely a pretty affable type one, I'd have to say. It's like a stellar follow-up single. I would definitely feel like this is like a good boppish kind of picnic and cookout energy that this song particularly kind of has, and it's just a smoke a few song. I would definitely feel like this is like a quality gimmick song, I'd have to say. So unless you're just really not fond of gimmick type songs, this is a pretty nice one. It has beautiful production on here, real affable type one, just some real breezy type fare. There's some songs on here on this particular album in particular that have a lot of good kind of cookout and summer breeze type type energy songs like Sunny Day, Get High, Hello, put that Summer Breeze type songs like Gimme Some, Sunny Day, Hello, Get High, some of those type ones. Oh yeah, it's definitely some of those type pitches. A lot of these just have pretty similar type productions, not in terms like the quality of them just sounding same, but just the concept that these are all real affable type ones and real bright and just cheery, like in a way that doesn't lose its edge, but still a good concept to just have some affable fun. Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those type ones to kind of get just within that pitch, just a real nice one. It's just not as immediately catchy as Still Fly, but it is a pretty good follow-up just in case. If you do have folks that are not quite as casual bound and they appreciate, Birdman and Big Tymers, Mannie Fresh, some of those type folks, Lil Wayne, some of those type folks, just within the aspect of not just knowing like one or two songs by them, this is a pretty good concept of one to bring up to the table as far as that pitch can happen. So it is a nice one. The third lesser known about third single off this project is Big. I'd have to say it's a pretty good concept to get this one. I feel like the energy and just overall like knowingness about this particular song being a single is lesser known nowadays, but back in the 2000s this was seen as like the third single. I remember on Big Timer's Wikipedia and discography page it kind of said that. The song does have over 1 million plays on Spotify, so maybe possibly some folks remember that from back in the day as well. It might have had a music video, it might have had some sort of promotion, it might have been at like the end of the Oh Yeah music video pitches like that, but it is a pretty nice one. This is like an outdoorsy kind of garage bound and summery shop like feel this song particularly kind of has. This is one of those shop type songs I was talking about before. It's like a feel good kind of car centric noise, I would definitely have to suppose. When not driving, I would feel like this is a pretty good hangout type song for more shop type music. So if you do have like some car centric type buddies, pitches like that, just some kickback, just talking shop, some of those type fares, just hanging out in a garage, smoking, pitches like that, just Pete's out and about, some of those type fares, just standard kickback, this garage bound kind of summery outings. This is a pretty nice one, just kind of have just underneath the hood of your heart, underneath the hood of your car type music as far as that pitch can go. Some of that type fare, just real good, basic kind of concepts, pimp my ride type fare, this car centric type fare as far as that pitch goes. But it is a nice one. This is a song I didn't appreciate as much back in the day, but I do see the appeal behind it. I do appreciate the concept of this particular one. It's a pretty nice highlight. Just a secret kind of Big Timer song that has a lot of appeal towards it. Just a good affable kind of third single. But this one's kind of like a minor gimmick single as well. I'd have to say it's kind of the concept that they had two gimmick songs for a single as far as that pitch kind of went. This one kind of has like a mildly kind of abrasive production on here. It just really sounds like something out of like a garage or something like that, just working on in like shop factories, pitches like that. It's kind of, this is an affable type one, but it's just kind of the concept. It's just more abrasive than Oh Yeah is, and both of those two songs are more gimmick type songs, but they do work pretty well. All three of the singles are pretty excellent. It's just kind of the concept that some of these just have more of a learning curve, so it's just kind of the thing. But so yeah, there's 19 songs in this particular album, and minus the 5 skits on here, there's 4 skits in an intro, so minus those 5 ones, I narrowed it down to 14. And out of those 14 songs, I wound up recommending 11, so that's a pretty good pitch. So this album's going to get a 9 out of 10. I feel like it's just a song shy of getting like a 10 out of 10 because there's a shorter amount of songs. I'd have to say that still disliking 3 songs out of 14, I still would have to say, it's getting a 9, which is definitely pretty damn good. It's on the verge of being like a classic with this kind of concept. There's just a few ones on here that just don't have that same spark, which the only 3 songs I don't recommend on here would just be Number One, Lil Mama, and My People. So talk about those. Basically, Number One was just kind of a failed club type song. I had to say in particular, normally I would like a song like this, but just the club execution, I really felt like Big Timers just didn't really have the blissful kind of appeal of nailing like some of these club joints on here. I feel like Still Fly is a nice song, but it's not really as much of like a club song. It's more of like outdoor bound summer cookout type music in particular. And this is the same thing with Oh Yeah. Big is more shop and garage type music, I'd have to say, in like a summer outdoor kind of sense. But Number One just didn't really nail it. Lil Mama was just kind of like a story type song in particular. It just didn't really have the same appeal about it. It was just kind of one. I feel like it's a necessary song to kind of get, but it just was not that interesting of like an atmosphere to really have with like the production fare. And then My People is kind of the same pitch. I did like the malaise, that particular song. It's just kind of an in-between type one of just got done with work, or just like the work shift type haze of just like evening dredge and pitches like that, but it just didn't really have enough affable type fare behind it. It's kind of here and there type one, but I don't know how commonly I would fuck with that particular song just in terms of standard shuffle pitches like that, I'd say. So it's this kind of concept, but yeah, it's definitely a pretty stellar album here. So Get High is one of the best songs off this particular album. Definitely appreciate this one. It's like a suburban kind of melodic smoking album standout, I would definitely have to say. Beautiful song in terms of this particular song. Just in particular, Jazzy Faye really nails this one. Has some excellent vibes, and it's like a get hella smokage going type song, I would definitely have to say. And it's like a breezy kind of gem. So I definitely feel like about this one. This whole album's like a great trip to smoke to as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Songs like Hello are some good ones for like ladies to smoke with. Get High is like a real nice one. Like I was saying, it's probably one of the better smoking songs just out in general. When you think of finding some songs to smoke to, this is definitely probably should be in like the top 20, 25 of ones that you should find if you like 2000s rap. There's some ones like that. Give Me Some's a pretty nice one to kind of smoke within that sense. There's just some good malaise type ones. Oh yeah, it's a pretty nice one. So Mannie Fresh has some excellent excerpts at the end of Get High also, where he talks about if he only had $5 left, he would smoke over pick food, which is a pretty excellent concept. Just like the pitches of some of the stuff that he was saying at the end of that type of song. So he's a real big smoker. Just appreciate the concept behind it. Hello is a pretty nice one. It's like a woozy kind of gleaming house call music of a song. I'd have to say just more local bounds. What I mean by that, and it's like a vanilla kind of ladies pastime, and I would definitely feel like it's like a local kind of smoke, hazy, chill kickback of a song. I definitely have to suppose some real good wooziness. Just in particular, it's like the concept of this has a real good simmering type production on here that just works pretty well. I mean, this is like this shows this songs like Hello and Oh Yeah and Put That Shit Up show Mannie Fresh in some of his more quality productions as far as that pitch can happen. I mean, he's no slouch when it comes to producing, but these are just some nice ones. It's some real glitzy type of feel to get some of this. But Hello is like a real gleaming type one. Sunny Day is a pretty nice one as well. It's like a simmering kind of summer haze of a song. I definitely would have to say is like a basic kind of day activity about this particular song. It's like some drive-through snackage and toke type music to kind of, it's like some drive-through snackage and kind of toke type music to kind of get in the parking lot as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just some basic kind of kickback as far as that particular kind of happens. It's like a mellow kind of hangout laze of a song, I'd have to say in particular. Simple kind of vanilla day as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just standard. It's like the song says, Sunny Day, just pitches like that. Just some easy kind of summer breeze type music. Just some good concepts for that. Good smokish type tune. Just pick up some swishers, pitches like that. Get some Popeyes, some of those type fares. Put That Shit Up's a pretty nice one. I'd have to say it's like a pounding kind of garage bound shop noise of a song. I'd have to say pretty similar. This is like a good pairing with the song Big, the third single Big. I'd have to say, and it's like a good work shift and flex type music, I would feel like. So it's a pretty excellent concept. Kind of get some of this here. I do like some of this shop type music. Do like the concept of some of these type ones. If you are working at places like Jiffy Lube, some of those type places, some of those relative type fairs, more car centric type places, just up in a shop, garage bound pitches like that. Once again, underneath the hood, some of those type fairs, just talking shop with your pals as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Got some KFC nearby, some of those type pitches. Just real good concept. Kind of have some. I mean, it's kind of one that's exhilarating. It's not necessarily like a lazy kind of relaxing type song. It's a more kind of in motion type one where you got some business kind of get to pitches like that. But this kind of concept. It's recreational, but it's just kind of the concept. If you are on the work shift, it's just a good, nice one to kind of unwind to and just kind of be focused, but kind of get some stuff done as far as that kind of happens. So it's a good shop type music for you and your pals. Give Me Some is a pretty nice one. This is another excellent kind of summery breeze cookout fanfare of a song. I definitely have to say it's like a great hooky, very great hooky, catchy feel that this song particularly kind of has, and it's just some hot weather type fun. So this one goes with songs like Get High and Hello and Big and Oh Yeah and some of those type ones, and Still Fly definitely I would have to say. Some overall type appeal that just has that relative breeze. I mean, some of these are really sing-songy on here. I do like some of these type ones. There's this cat named TQ on here that does a pretty good job with a lot of these. So it's just a good concept of being able to say some of that affability. I think he was like the go-to kind of Cash Money R&B artist as far as pitches like that kind of happen. He was on like some Mannie Fresh albums and maybe like a couple Birdman albums as far as pitches like that kind of happen. But he's a pretty good hook singer, and this is some affable kind of cookout type music. Pimpin's a pretty nice one. It's like a dreary kind of summer late day commerce of a song, I'd have to say. It's like some end of work shift kind of unwind, I would feel like, in simple errands music, I'd have to say. This is just like good for some standard outs. So I just would say just pitches like that, the standard Wednesday, Thursday type music of just getting some bills paid, pitches like that is the standard commerce of just kind of like rap music dredge as far as that particular kind of happens. Interesting concept, kind of get some of these type ones, is get the standard day taken care of. Lace up some ends, pitches like that as far as that would particularly kind of happen. Pick up some food in like a minor sense. Not nothing real. I would almost say maybe minor smokish within that sense, but it's really not as much of like a full blown. Some of these later songs I'm about to list kind of have more of like a more standard get things done type shift as far as that particular kind of happens, which I kind of feel like about this particular album. It's a lot more of like a steadfast type one the more I look after. I mean, there's definitely some boppers type ones for like some cookout type music, but it is relatively steadfast and it gets to it. It gets to the money, it gets to the business, gets to like the errands taken care of, pitches like that. It's not a slouch of a project, just to say it kind of has like it's Sunday music and it's Friday music at the same time. Or it kind of has its Monday music and its Friday music at the same time, I'd say. So it's a pretty good concept. But Pimpin's definitely one that's more weekday type music, just get some stuff done. I'm Coming is a pretty nice one. It's like a malaise kind of evening commerce, I'd have to say in particular. It's like a standard dredge of errands and preoccupied type outings, I'd have to say in particular. It's like a good driven hit, I would definitely have to suppose. So I'm Coming is definitely like some more weekday type music, Monday, Tuesday type music. Definitely when I talk about preoccupied type outing, just the concept of being a little bit busy, but just not less with smokage in mind. If you are smoking on the go, pitches like that, just less, more, get stuff done, kind of get the concept of getting tasks taken care of, pitches like that as far as that particular kind of happens. Pretty driven song, was pretty affable just to have some of these. And then Demand is a pretty nice one. It's like a stock kind of summer pep of a song on this particular one. It's like a balmy get out and get to it type tune, I would feel like. As the get out and get to it feels, I would definitely have to say. And it's like a straightforward and kind of steady, but in a jovial type mood type song. So this one kind of combines some of the summer breeze type fare songs like Sunny Day and Get High, and some of the, so Demand kind of combines some of the summery type pitches of Gimme Some and Sunny Day, some of those type fares with like the more steadfast type fare songs like Pimpin' and I'm Coming, some of those type ones, and Put That Shit Up, some of those type ones in particular, I'd have to say. Definitely kind of a meet you halfway type dredge of a song, I'd have to say in particular, but it is a pretty good concept. I did like Trick Daddy being on this particular song. It's a good pep to kind of have. Do you like some of this affable type spark? Do you like some of this affable type spark? It is in a relatively jovial mood. I'd have to say it's just the concept of just having tasks to do, but just the concept of being, it's the concept of having tasks to do, but being a peppy mood type about it. I just would have to say maybe it's just the concept, just have a good meal in your car, something like that. Just the concept of getting some stuff done, but just the pitch behind it's not quite as driven and quite as stern, just within the concept of how some of those aspects can happen. So it's just a little bit more of like a balmy type one within a sense, but real good breezes about it. So yeah, it's a relative hustler. This project has some relative bustle about it, but it also has like some great summer cookout and just ladies housebound type energy as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Maybe it's a little bit light on like the nightclub type songs, pitches like that. I'd have to say just within the concept. Maybe it's a little bit light on like the dance club type songs, but I look after it, it's not like it's a slouch of an album, and it is damn near a classic. I'd say it has 3 hit singles that are some pretty good pitches, some good hooks on here, some great productions pitches like that. So it gets a 9 out of 10 score. The social score I'll go ahead and give like a 10 out of 10 just because I like the aspect behind this particular album. It has a lot of good glitzy appeal, a lot of good, like I said, residential type fare, a little bit of outings peppered in. I'd have to say some good shop type music, some good summery type cookout type music. Just kind of get some residential ladies bound type fare as far as pitches like that kind of happen. Just more localized type fare. Summer weeds and like some work shift in there with like some good stern, some good driven and relatively bustle kind of commerce music to kind of get some stuff done, but not to the point where it's not fun, I'd have to say. So it's a good concept for that. So it's definitely a classic in terms of early 2000s Southern type fare that just nails a lot of these aspects. Good concept. In terms of the future, I would say in terms of the future, like Big Tymers has not put out an album since 2003, which is a pretty shameful pitch. Not like it's shameful like it's a horrid thing. It's not like it's shameful like shame on them. It's just kind of the concept that they just haven't put out anything in over 20 years, which is kind of the concept. But suppose BG was working on bringing like the Big Timers or at least Cash Money Back pitches like that. It might just be the Hot Boy, some of that type fare, but Lil Wayne said he didn't know about that. But this is like a relative classic of an album, so I am going to review some more of these albums, particularly like Big Money Heavyweight from 2003, some of those type pitches. They do have quite a few hits. I don't know like their 90s albums as much, I'd have to say, but I do remember like Briefly like their year 2000 album. I think it's called like I Got That Work or something like that. And there's also I do remember their 2003 album Big Money Heavyweight. So we'll get to some more of these type ones, but this is like a virtual classic here. Definitely recommend it. Has plenty of good glitzy type appeal and overall residential bound type stuff that lasts for like a good chunk of summer and further, I'd have to say.